Hey there, everyone. Welcome into another episode of the Subscription Web Design Podcast. Hey, we're continuing our series on the 5 M's of subscription web design. And in this one, what we're going to do is take a look at the model, okay? The model. So first, you got to get right the mindset of subscription web design. We talked about customer ascension and lifetime value and the assumption of continuity and making sure that you're thinking correctly when you go down this road, because if you're not thinking correctly, then you're not going to be able to execute correctly on it, because the why determines the what. But now that we've got a little bit of the why out of the way, we can start to move more into the what. And the what really begins with choosing a model that is going to make sense for you. And this is one of my favorite topics. And in fact, if you go to subscriptionwebdesign.com, right there, you can click on a little link that says watch the free training. And this training is going to give you a deep dive into a few thoughts that I have about the different models that are available and how to work the model in. In fact, we talk through the entire framework of subscription web design that I actually teach inside of my course. We talk through the framework of that on that free video. We talk through in depth the 5 different models that are available. And then we talk through some ideas for how to work the models into your business. And that's a little bit of what we're going to talk about today, but we go deeper inside of that free training that you can get at subscriptionwebdesign.com. So let's start looking at this. First things first, there are 5 models that I've identified that you can choose from when you start to go down this road of subscription web design. And what we'll do is talk briefly about each one of them. And let me just encourage you, again, to go to subscriptionwebdesign.com to get the free training to learn more about them. Okay, so the first model that we like to talk about is my own model, and that is the lease to own model. Now, the words to own are in there for a very important reason, and that is because I do find that a lot of people are concerned with the ownership of their website, especially if you are doing what I do and actually providing a custom website in the subscription model. So some people like to offer just like a customized website or like a template-based website, and I think that's fine, and we're going to talk about those in just a moment. But for me, I actually offer full custom builds, and that's the model that we use and make work at NorthMac Services. And we love it because it allows customers to still get a fully custom website for them that they can take on, and own one day, but we offer it in the context of the subscription model, okay? And so in our model, there is a point after 18 months where they can go ahead and assume full ownership of that website. If they want, they can even cancel their monthly payments, and they can go find a different host and a different provider somewhere and take their website with them. So that is my subscription web design model, and it's called the lease to own model. Okay, the second piece of that is the traditional lease with a buyout option. Okay, and full disclosure, this idea I got from Stephanie Hudson, and you can find it if you go to enjoysweettea.com. That website is still up, and you can go and you can click on website lease, and you can look at that idea. And she's got a lot of the terms and everything spelled out right there on that page. And basically, this is offered as a customized website. So this is a way of sort of utilizing the custom website idea, but it is customized to them, starting with some templates, okay? So they don't do this model in the context of fully bespoke custom website design. It is a templatized sort of model, okay? And the way that they offer this is a 12-month package, and then they offer a buyout option at the end. So they allow you to pay for 12 months for the website, and then at the end, you can either re-up for another 12 months, which will allow you to get a redesign right there at that point if you'd like. They will, and when I say redesign, it would be like updating some information, like, updating that customized template just a little bit if there's new colors or new information, mostly just text information that would need to be updated in that context. Then they can update any of that information and re-up for another 12-month contract. They can drop it, so they can totally go out and they can just say, yep, we don't need the website anymore. And they stop paying their bill and the website goes away. Or they can, at that point, do a buyout. And their buyout price, I think, is like $850 or something like that. And they offer customers the opportunity to actually buy out and then own their website at that point, instead of doing it by charging for a longer period of time. And so that's the lease with the buyout option. And I think it's just another great option that you can take if you're trying to figure out, well, what's the right way for me to work subscription web design in, okay? The next model that I want to talk about is what I call the same as cash model. And the reason I call it this is because the way that you're actually going to structure this, it's basically like if you were just to take whatever number you would charge right now in your traditional web design business, and then if you were to break that number up over 12, 18, 24 months, whatever you want your time period to be, and then charge monthly instead of in various other ways of charging, like 50 up, 50 at the, 50 down at the beginning and then 50 at the end, or, 33, 33, 33, however you want to do it. Instead of doing that, you would just take that same thinking and apply it to a monthly time period for whatever that term would be. Now, there's no assumption of continuity in this model. Okay. So in other words, it is by its very nature finite. You're basically giving the person a payment plan. And so why do I even call this subscription web design? This is a question that I've gotten. Well, it's not technically subscription web design. But it is under my definition. Okay. And so my definition of subscription web design, again, hinges a lot on cash flow. And so really it's any payment arrangement that you can make that gets money flowing in monthly or annually or quarterly, although I prefer monthly, instead of in big cash windfalls. And the reason is because even on the same as cash model, you have the opportunity to add money monthly to your bottom line, which buys you time to acquire more customers. Okay. And so I don't recommend that you do the same as cash model, but if you're finding it hard to figure out how to work the model into your business, then the same as cash model might be a great way to go. And you could offer that as like a downsell. So say someone wants to work with you really bad, but they can't quite afford what you're charging. You could say, well, look, what if we added it in as a monthly fee instead? I would be willing to do that if that's something that your business could work with. And they might say yes. So again, that's the same as cash model. It's not ideal, but it is a way to get started with this monthly thinking, okay, instead of thinking in bigger cash windfalls. Okay, the fourth model is what I call the fill in the blank model. And this is a template-based model where you are going to do sort of what Stephanie does with Enjoy Sweet Tea, which is to offer a model that's based on templates that you created for your particular niche or, across different niches that you want to serve. Most of the time, when someone is going to put together a model like this, the template-based model, there's typically a few things that's going to happen. Number one, it's typically going to be a separate brand. Most people aren't willing to go this route as their main brand because since it's not bespoke website design, it's not custom design, you're going to charge less for this typically. So the second piece of this then, based on that, is it's actually going to be a lower budget project typically. I'm seeing a lot of people charge for the template-based websites in the $125, $150, $175 range, somewhere in there. And these will all be templated websites. Typically, and this leads me to a third thing, is that it's typically going to revolve around a certain niche. Now, it could just be budget-based. For example, you could have a subset that was still a generalist. You could have a generalist agency, and you could have a subset of your generalist agency that was for the subscription web design, but you could sell it as a budget option. Or and or you could do it as a niche, right? So you could say, well, maybe on your main websites you focus on a particular higher level niche, or you're a generalist, but then on your satellite website, for your sister company that does the template-based subscription web design, that might be in a really particular niche that you're passionate about. Like one of my students, Tammy, she is really passionate about dog breeders, and so she has a website that is specifically for those template-based websites that are focused on dog breeders, and again, they are lower budget, etc. So that's the fill-in-the-blank model. I think it's a great kind of add-on to your main services. Would I treat this as a full-time thing? That depends on your situation. So actually in Tammy, who I just mentioned, in her case, and what she ends up doing, I can't speak for, but for me, I actually did advise her to consider going full-time on this niche. And there's a few reasons for that I won't go into because they're between me and her. There are a few reasons why I gave her. And maybe we could talk about that in a more generalist way at sometime in the future. But the idea being is that there are some circumstances where it might make sense for the templatized, lower budget website to actually, and even maybe niched down, to be your main thing. There's potential ways to make that work, especially if you're good with SEO and you're good with being able to just create a content hub around a particular topic that you're selling these template-based websites for. I think there's definitely an opportunity there. Most people that I've seen are going to do it as an add-on to their other agency, though. So that's just a consideration. And then the fifth model of subscription web design is what I call maintenance only. Maintenance only. And in the maintenance only model, as you can imagine, you're just adding on a maintenance plan. Now, I tend to call these a management plan. I think the word management is better than maintenance, but adding on a maintenance plan, and that makes it a nice way to start transitioning into subscription website design to get some recurring revenue in the door before you totally cut the cord and go full into it. Okay. So those are the 5 different models. Again, a deeper dive of those is available on subscriptionwebdesign.com. And click on the button that says watch free training, and you can go through that. But I wanted to introduce them to you here. So a couple more thoughts then on bringing in the model, okay? The second thing is, how are you going to work the model in to your business? So you need to figure out, well, what kind of financial runway do I have? Do I have a 6-month runway where I could cut the cord and start offering only subscription web design? Do I want to offer subscription web design as a separate company and set up a separate website for that? Do I want to offer subscription web design as only a downsell when somebody turns down the main offer? Then I offer the subscription package. Do I want to offer both of them up front and be like, hey, you can either choose to do my subscription plan, or you can choose to pay via this more traditional payment method? These are things that you're going to have to think about, and think about how to actually work the model into your business in a way that makes sense, given your niche, given your financial situation, given how much you're ready and willing to charge, and just a lot of other factors. So that's the kind of decisions that you need to make and start thinking about when it comes to the model of subscription web design. And then finally, you're going to need to think about, are you going to start small, or are you going to burn the boats? So however you decide to work the model in, you really have to make the decision of, okay, am I going to dabble with this a little bit, or am I going to burn the boats, go all in with this model and believe in it and make it work? Now, see, this is what I did. So for me, I often get asked if I offer this as an option. And the truth is I don't offer this as an option. I say, this is how we work. Okay. The only concessions that I will tend to make on these things is when a company with more annual accounting cycles, like larger companies who don't want to necessarily deal with the accounting on a monthly basis, will request an annual plan. And I'm more than happy to do something like that. But yeah, in most cases, I just prefer the monthly option, and that's what I tell people that we do. And I give them all the reasons for that, right? I say, look, we've had the situation where the website, is a one and done, and then it falls by the wayside. We've had the situation where the client's trying to get back in touch with their service provider, and they can't do it. For us, we would like to be incentivized to always be able to answer the phone and be there. And it's like we have this monthly relationship, and we're working together to grow your business over the long term. And so for me, I ask people, or I that's not really even the right way to say it. I tell people that this is how we work, and if they want to do business with us, this is how they're going to have to work. Now, when I did this, I was fortunate enough to have a full-time job, and I was building my business on the side, and I had given myself about a 5-year goal, and I did accomplish that goal, praise the Lord. But I didn't start small. I went full into subscription web design. And so if you have the ability to do that, given your life situation, then I would highly recommend you do it. If you don't, then that's where you need to think about, well, how are you going to work this in? You know, like we just talked about a minute ago with the various options that are available to you. Okay, so that's the model. So first we had the mindset, the why, then we had the model, which is the what. And I think that once you get this down, it's going to make a lot more sense for you, and you're going to be able to dive into subscription web design with confidence. God bless. Thank you guys for being a listener to the podcast. I sure appreciate you. Make sure that you're liking and sharing and commenting if you're on YouTube and all of those things. That really, really helps other people to know that this is a worthwhile podcast. And so I would very much encourage you to do that. It would be helpful to us, and we'd appreciate it a lot. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.